G'day guys. Right, if you're following along with the last video, you should now have all of your information in here from the drawings put into the table, just like that. If you haven't, you can pause here and zoom in on that, and you can, type them in. So yeah, pause there, type them in, get that done. Right, what we're going to be mainly focusing on in this video is how to get our drawings actually into the layout. Now, it's not as hard as you might think. It might actually be one of the easier bits. For starters, I guess we'll just go up to the cover page and we'll start from the front. So we've got a isometric view and the view with the drawer out. So all we need to do is we need to go File, Insert, and actually, sorry, I'll go Cancel. Before you do that, make sure your SketchUp model, you've saved it. You need to make sure it's saved with all of these scenes in there, which we did a couple of videos ago. It needs to be saved, it needs to be current, and we'll just minimize that. So once that's saved and you've got all the scenes in there, you go Insert, you find where you saved it. So that will be saved in my Toolbox folder, Toolbox tutorial. Here we go. And it will insert the model. Hopefully, there we go. Look at that. So we've got the model there. Now we just need to drag it into the spot that we want it. Oops. So we just get it and see if we can get it bang on that corner there. Drag this down like that. It's a little bit laggy, isn't it? A little bit slow. So once you've done that, then you can double click on this, or we can actually sort of make it so it takes up about half the screen. So we've got half for the isometric and then half for the one with the drawer out. We'll double click on it, and then it sort of takes you into SketchUp, and you can zoom in, zoom out, you can orbit around, and show whatever kind of view you want, and that's the view that will stay. So I'll probably go for a view like that, zoom in a little bit, make it a bit bigger, and then click away. And that's a view that's now saved. Now what I can do is I can click on this, and I can press Control, I have to hold down Control, and then click and drag, and see it makes, when I drop it, hang on, let's get in the right spot. There we go. It's, oh, hang on, didn't make a copy. Let's try again. There we go, it's made a copy. So yeah, you need to hold down Control, drag it, and it will make a copy. Now, it's looking a little bit big, so I might just need to make that a bit smaller. And then see how it's sort of cut off the edge there? That's okay, we just need to double click on it and zoom out a little bit so it fits in. Okay, so we've got that one there. Then with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to click on it, right click, go to Scenes, and then we go Isometric Withdraw, and it'll change it. It'll be a funny view, but just double click on it. And again, once it's double clicked, there we go. We can zoom out on that and get the view that we want. And you can kind of just, zoom in and out and position it and just move it until you're happy with it. Maybe about, I'm missing a bit of the draw. That's pretty good. I think it might have cut off a little bit there, but what I can do is make that a bit bigger. It should then include it. Perfect, look at that. Okay, so that's just about what we want, right? We've got a view of the toolbox and a view of the toolbox with the drawer open. Now, I also put an exploded view just on this page. I just added another page in there and did an exploded view. It's not really necessary when we've got another one here all labeled, so we probably won't do it this time. If you want, you can add another page, just click plus and add an exploded view, but I don't really know why I did it last time. I think I was just playing around with it. But what we'll do is we'll go on the inside page. We're going to go File, Insert, Toolbox Tutorial, and it'll drop one in here for us. All right. And then we drag it into the spot we want, like that. And then we'll drag this little one to take up the whole space that we have. And now I'll double click on it. Oh, sorry, no, I don't want to double click. I need to right click first. We need to choose the scene of exploded view. There we go. Now we double click on it and we zoom in and we get the view that we want. Now we don't want it to be too close to the table or anything. We probably want it, maybe just like that'll do. That seems big enough, right? That's pretty good, I reckon. Okay, so we've got that like that. Now, in these little arrows, honestly, it's really simple. You've got this little label tool here. We'll click on that and see how it's changed our text over here back to Georgia. We hate Georgia, remember? We like that Microsoft Yahoo. Where is it? Oh, look at that, great font. Love that font. Right. So you just want to go through and label them. We'll call the handle number 1. So you just got to, you can probably zoom in and just click on it somewhere, click, and then, oh no, hang on, I don't want that. You've got to click twice. You've got to do 1 click, another click, and then see how you can go out with a straight line. Click again, and then it'll ask you for the name. So what we'll do is we'll just say 1, or you can call it handle if you want, doesn't matter. Hit enter. Oh no, you don't hit enter, you click away. And then we've got number 1 labeled. Then number 2 is the end piece. So we click on the end piece somewhere we want it, and we click, move a little line across, and then we type in 2, and we click away, right? And then you do the same for 3, same for 4, same for 5, 6, 7, blah, blah, blah. I would say try to avoid wherever you can having labels that go across pieces, like that 5B there. I'm not super happy that that goes across there. I probably would rather maybe have it come down here away, but anyway, what can you do? So yeah, I won't do that all in the video. I don't want to bore you guys with that. Pretty easy. Just go through with that label tool and label them all, and then you can leave it like that. If you're also not happy with the positioning of that, you can click on it and shift it across a bit. So it's more centered. I think that's a bit more centered now. So that looks pretty good. Happy with that. Now, the next page on the drawing is number 1, handle. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to page 3 here. We're going to right click on page 3 and rename it to handle. We've saved that. Now what we need to do is we need to insert a text box. One of them, it needs to be like a big text box. And we're just going to write 1. We're going to, hang on, we're going to highlight it. And then we're going to make it big. Oh, maybe not that big. We're just changing the size to 48, 72. Oh, that looks a bit big. Somewhere in between that. Maybe I'll go 55. Type in 55, enter, make it centered, and there's the number 1. Okay, I don't know what that red arrow means. I think it might mean that the box isn't big enough. There we go, make the box a bit bigger. So there's number 1. Now we're going to put in another text box over here, and we're just going to use that for our text. So we say handle. Oops. A-N-D-L-E. Now, it is annoying that you have to sort of write these each time, but you can't. Remember how we pinned this whole toolbar to the layer, or we locked it to the layer? We can't do that here because if I change it on the next slide for the end piece, then it's going to change it on this one. We need to do it each time, otherwise, because whatever you lock to it, it wants to be the same on every page, but we don't want this to be the same. We need to modify this. So we'll change that size to, I don't know, 24 looks all right. We'll put it, oh, we don't want center text, we want left align. There we go. And we'll just grab this little node here, make it smaller, use the arrow keys to move it down to the spot we want. Up there. Good. Number 1, handle, and then we'll put in another text box over here for the scale. So we say scale equals, now what scale do we do for the handle? We did a 1 to 4, so we'll say 1 colon 4. Then that looks a bit big as well. We'll make it center aligned and we'll change it to maybe an 18. Maybe a bit smaller, maybe 16. Okay. So now we can do the same thing here. We can make that a bit smaller. Hang on. I need to zoom in on it. There we go. And then just bump it down so it's in the middle. Scale 1 to 4. Okay, happy days. What we can do to make it easier though, so we don't have to put in a new text box each time, is we can click on that, hold down Shift, click on that, and click on that. Press Control C, and then when we go to page 4 for the end, we go Control V, and it's there. Then we can just backspace the 1, change it to a 2, backspace handle, change it to end, backspace the scale, and update the scale. So you just sort of copy and paste it onto each slide. Okay, so to get the handle in, what we need to do is it's pretty much the same thing we did before, and I won't do every single one in the video because it would take forever. It does take a while, but you know, perfection takes ages, doesn't it? Right, so we've got this. We've inserted the toolbox drawing. We're just going to move it down to the bottom corner over here somewhere, like that, and we're going to go down like this, make it a bit smaller. We actually want it quite small and kind of wide as well for that, because we're going to put this view in first. So all we have to do is right click on it, change the scene to handle, like that. And then see, it's already kind of put it in the spot for us. This time we could double click on it and we could zoom in until we get it to be a good size, but that doesn't help us with the scale. Remember, we want the scale to be the same for each drawing. So what we can do here is we can click on this, right click, scale, and it comes up with heaps and heaps and heaps of different scales. But they might not have the one that you want. You can sort of see here, it's got, that's a 1:4 scale, but it's 3 inches to 1 inch. So I don't know what that means in imperial. We want a 1:4 scale. If they don't have the scale that you want, because the next one might be a 1:3, the next one might be a 1:2. If they don't have the one you want, you can actually add scales in. And it's been a while since I've done that, but I reckon I can figure it out pretty quick. This one? No, not that. Oopsies. I reckon we go File or Edit, Preferences, Scales. Oh, look at that, straight back onto it. So scale text, we need to name the scale. So we're going to call it 1:4 scale millimeters. And then we basically want to say that 1 millimeter on the paper is 4 millimeters on the model. Okay, and then we click Add Custom Scale, and then that will now show up in our scale list. So if we go close, we can now right click on this, and then we can go, it shows up there. See, 1:4. Perfect. Now, see how it's cut some of it off? That's okay. We just need to change the size of this box. And then I think we just double click on it. Oops. Double click. And then how do we shift it across? There's a way you can do it without changing the scale. Hang on. I think we might have to go like, open it up that way. There we go. Drag it across to the spot we want it, and then close this back in. Oh, you bastard, what have you done that for? Sorry, we open that up a bit. There we go. Anyway, it's okay if the box isn't, perfectly just surrounding it. It's a little bit of a hassle to get it to do that, but that's pretty good size. That's about where we want it. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we'll just move it to the spot we want. So I'll shift it across so it's kind of close to the edge, a little bit lower maybe. Now we want the top view of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down Control and we're just going to move it straight up. Now it's really important that we stay straight up here. See how those numbers say 0.0, 49.9? If the 0.0 changes, it means you've dragged it to the left or the right. You need to make sure it stays on 0, 0. Otherwise, your views aren't going to align properly. Now to switch this one, all we have to do is right click and we go Standard Views, and you want to click Top Relative. So it's going to show you the top view relative to the view that you just did. So see there, we've now got a top view of that. And then if you're going to move it, only move it up or down. Never move it left or right, or it's not going to align properly. We've got that one in. We're going to click on this one again, hold down Control, drag it to the right. That way, let's see I'm off 0. I've got a 4.7 there to 0. Oh, no. Come on. Perfect. There we go. So I've dropped that. It's right next to it. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click Standard Views, and we want to go a right view like that. Now this time we can probably close this one up. We don't really need it to be that big. And we can probably close this up too. Right, like that. Okay. And then we can just move it. We don't want to move it up or down. We just want to move this to the right just to give us some space. Like that. And then I don't think on a third angle projection drawing you actually need to give an isometric view, but I add them in just because I find it helps the kids. It makes it a bit easy for the kids to understand what they're making, and it's a good way to teach them a little bit about third angle projection and what it's actually going to look like, what the actual finished thing will look like. I might even just move that up a bit as well, just to make a bit more space for that isometric view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this one. I'm going to make a copy of it. So I hold down Control, click and drag it. Oh, why aren't you doing the thing I want you to do? Come on. If that keeps happening, if the control click's not working for you, it should work. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. That's working. You can just Control C and Control V, like copy and paste it. That works too. So what we'll do now is you can go to Standard Views and click ISO, and that'll give you a isometric view of it. But I prefer to just double click it and remember what we did before, just use the orbit tool to kind of get the way you want. And I also, usually I will, because that's still in perspective view, I'll click on that and then it gives, sorry, it's in parallel projection and we want it in perspective. It just gives it a bit more of a realistic kind of look, you know. So we'll drag this up to the top corner. There we go. And then we'll put it down over here. And then we'll just double click on it and position it so that it's not clashing with anything. So that's, yeah, that's pretty good. If we move this one up a bit, it might look like it's got a bit more space. Perfect. That looks pretty good. Maybe we could make that a bit small. Anyway, up to you. Fiddle around with it as much as you want. I don't really care. You know, you can put as much detail or as little detail as you want into these. It doesn't really matter. Hang on. There we go. Right, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, to put the dimensions in, super easy. We go to the dimension tool, click on that, see how it's given us that disgusting Georgia font? I hate it. Give me the Microsoft Yahoo. There we go. That's what I want. Microsoft Yahoo. And then all you're going to do is I find it best if you zoom into it, like if you actually zoom into your model, because sometimes it doesn't let you click on the corner, but if you zoom right in, it'll let you click on the corner. And it's showing up in meters at the moment. So hold on, I'm going to hit escape. We need to do some preferences for our dimension first. So to do that, I believe we need to go into the dimension style tool. Yep, there we go. Let's see, we want decimal and we don't want meter. We want, oops, not centimeter, we want millimeter. Precision, look, I think we go 0.1. Or maybe we just go 1 millimeter precision, so it doesn't show 592.0. We just want it to show 592, you know what I mean? I think that's how we want it. Hey, let's find out. Okay, so we click on that corner, and we click on this corner over here, and then you drag it up, and you click, and that's it. And there you got your measurement in there. So we'll show that measurement, we'll show the thickness of it. So we click from here to here, and you can also get it so it doesn't show the millimeter at the end. See how it's saying millimeters? Because you don't really need it to say millimeters because we've got that little thing down here that says, unless stated otherwise, all dimensions are in millimeters. So to get rid of them, I'll hold down Shift and click these. I think it's just this button here, click. Yeah, there we go. And it takes it away. Now, this bit annoys me when you're doing small dimensions and the number doesn't actually fit in between your, whatever you call that, in between your dimension thing. You can click on that and I think you just got to click on one of these and it will, no, that's not what I want. Maybe it's this one. There we go. Click that and it'll put it into the middle, right? So we've got the dimensions there and there. We also need to show that it's a 15 millimeter gap from here to here. So we get the dimension tool, click there. This is a good example where you need to zoom in because we need to get right there on 15 and we'll click. And again, it's showing the millimeters and it's doing that stupid thing. Click that and I'll click that to get rid of that. To stop it from doing that each time, I think we just need to click on the dimension tool, turn off the millimeter so it won't show it. Now, to make sure, one thing that's important on these drawings is that if you're doing two heights on the same plane, I guess, like we're showing two measurements on the same level, would you say? I don't know. You want them to line up. So what you can do is I've just clicked and see how I can sort of move that up and down. I'm just going to drag it over here and I'm going to click on that point and then they'll be identical. They come up the exact same amount. And all we need to do then is click on that and put the dimension on top. Easy peasy, right? Okay, so we'll put the dimensions on here. Boom, and we'll go a dimension here that says it's 45, a dimension here that says it's 45, and a dimension here that says it's 90. Perfect. Now, if you want, depending on your own preferences, you can make it so that these numbers are all on the outside by just clicking on them and changing it to that. Click on this one, change it to that. Or if you like, if you want to be fancy, you can put them in the middle. Some people like that. Whatever floats your boat. I don't really care. Do it how you want. And this is, that's kind of where, you get as detailed into it as you want. You put as much care into making sure everything's the same as you want. The more care you put in, the better, really. Like, I prefer to put a little more effort in, but you don't really have to. Now, for a box like this, student has the opportunity to customize the shape, design, blah, blah, blah. I have found it's a really, in my original plans, I think when I did the mantle clock plans, I didn't put any boxes like that in. And I started putting them in with the toolbox plans or the bedside table plans that I did. And the kids, it helps them a lot. Like just having a little bit of instruction there about what they're doing, it does help. But to put them in, it's just a simple box. Or no, actually, I think you know what it is. I think it's a text box. So you click and drag a text box. I'll just put A for now. I don't want to type that all out. I'm going to see if I can copy this because I'm lazy. I don't want to type C, B. Yeah, look at that. Happy days. Let me just set up. So that's a box. We need to grab the normal mouse tool and make it a bit bigger so we can see everything. Let me double click on that, get rid of that space. Now, let's make sure we've got the nice font. Yahoo, love that. 9 point, that's pretty good. And we'll make it center text and we'll just make the box a little bit smaller. Okay, and then look, I put a little dotted box around it. That's pretty easy. You go shape style, I think. Yep, and change the stroke to a dash 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 stroke. And I think you got to click black. Yeah, you click black, and then you got a little black stroke around it. Okay, makes it a bit easier for the kids to see. And then all we do is we grab the pencil tool, draw a line from here to here, click, escape. And I think with this line, you can actually put an arrow on it. Is it here, start arrow? Oops, no, we want the end arrow. End arrow like that. And we've got the end arrow as 5 point. If it says 1 point, you might just need to change it to 5 point. So you've got a big bulky arrow like that. And that's it, right? You can do the same thing with that. That one doesn't have an arrow, that just has a dot on the end. It's up to you, whatever you like the look of. You can put it in whichever way you want. So that's pretty much it. That's how you do a drawing. I will do the exact same thing for all the others. Where are they? Let me close these things so I can get back to my pages. So the handle is done. We'll quickly save our work. File, save. Make sure we don't lose all the hard work we've done. Page 4 is just a text page. So keep one handle, scale, change that to NA. N/A, not applicable. And then all I do is I put in a big text box, right? Big text box like that, and I type in the instructions, blah, blah, blah. Type in as much as you want, I don't care. I found, again, this I think I've only done for the toolbox. I didn't do it for the bedside table. This helps heaps. Like Dad said, I'm sick. I got so sick of kids coming up to me in the workshop and saying, how do I do this? I've forgotten what I do next. I've forgotten how to do this bit, right? Put this in and it just, oh, there's the bell. I gotta get going. Yeah, if you put that in, it just, do as much detail as you can. It really helps the kids figure out exactly what they need to do on each piece. Now, what else is there? Look, it's pretty much the same for everyone. I could go through and show you them, but look, you get the hang of it. Basically, what you need to do from here is, what I would do is I'd rename this as handle instructions, and then I'd have the instructions there. And then what I'd do is I'd make a new page. So we've got page 5. We're going to rename this as, I think, the end. So we say end, enter. And then we're going to go back to handle. We're going to grab the select tool. We're going to hold down that, hold shift, click on all of these, press Control C, go to the end, Control V, double click that, change that to 2. Double click this, that, change it to end. And the scale here is a 1 to 3 scale, which look, I think there's some rules you're not allowed to have scale. There's certain scales you're only allowed to have in AS 1100 drawings. But look, I just tried to make everything as big as it could fit on the page so the kids can see as much detail as they can. And I don't really look at the scale anyway. I never really get the kids to use the scale. It's just, it's there to tell you what scale it is. So yeah, what you'll do is you go File, Insert, insert your toolbox, size it up however you want, make it so it's the right size, make sure it fits. Right click. We want to go to Scenes, End, and there's your end piece, right? You move it over here. You right click, you go to Scale down here, and you want to make it a 1 to 3 scale. We don't have a 1 to 3 scale. What do? We go Edit, preferences, scales, add in a 1 to 3 millimeter scale. On the paper, it's 1 millimeter. In the model, it's 3 millimeters. Add your scale, close, right click on that, scale, and then here you got 1 to 3, boom. Perfect. And then, yeah, go through, put your dimensions on, get as detailed as you want, put little instructions on. The kids love the little instructions, it helps. Put your instructions there. This one, maybe I will show you this one just quickly because all you got to do is rotate this around. So you click this little node over here. I'm going to flip that to 180. Oh, shit, I really got to go. We got some work health safety meeting on that I don't want to go to, but I probably should get going to it. We'll make that a little bit wider. Make it a bit wider here. And then we'll double click on it and just zoom in so it takes up like the whole, as much of the screen as you want, like there. And then see, you've got your close up of your dovetails. You can also move this up so so you can put that dimension at the bottom like that. Cool. And then you can put all your dimensions in, put instructions in if you want. Go your hardest. Like that's it. Put as much detail in as you want. What else is there? Look, you should be able to figure everything else out. Like it's, you'll get the hang of it. Just rewatch the video if you have to. This one, I might make a video on how to do that. It's not that important. Like I found it helped the kids. You could just put a photo in. Putting these photos in here of the jigs at the end, I literally just went File, Insert, and then I had the photo, for example, of the logo. You just have the photo on your desktop or have it saved somewhere, insert it, make it the right size, then you got a page with photos on it, right? It's easy. You guys will figure it out. You're smart people. You don't get enough credit for how smart you are. Okay, God, finally, that's done. That took a while. All right, thanks for sticking around with this video series. Share it around, help people out. Hopefully everyone starts making plans like this. It'll be heaps better for the kids if they start getting some quality workshop plans. Okay, keep up the good work.